All right, guys. Today we're going to be going over this article from TCG Player talking about the biggest price spikes in Pokemon this week from January 22nd. And this is pretty crazy because the Mega Charizard XEX from Phantasmal Flames is absolutely on fire lately. Now, obviously, ever since this thing came out, it had kind of been just on like a big downtrend, finding a bottom all the way at around $423 right around Christmas time. And since then, this thing has just gone straight up. Again, towards the end of December, that's when a lot of people were talking about the overall Pokemon market crash, saying how Pokemon's dead, we're just going to keep going lower and lower and lower and lower. But this is when a lot of the market, including this card, found a bottom. And since then, this card is on an absolute tear. Now, again, this card is beautiful. I love this card for so many different reasons. Obviously, Charizard is amazing. You're talking about a Mega Charizard X card. That's great. You also have Charmeleon. You also have Charmander. I love the blue and the red contrast between those Pokemon. Like, I get it. This is an insane chase Charizard. This thing, deserves to be a very, very expensive card. And it's had a crazy bounce. Again, going from $423 up to sitting at currently $620, at least from, what we're seeing here, which is an absolutely insane rebound. But I still don't know if that means it's time to pick it up. And again, things are always going to go up and down. That's just kind of how price movement works. And again, there is still a lot of Phantasmal Flames being printed. Even I myself just picked up 2 of these, the Mega Charizard X UPC. I got a couple of these for retail, and they really weren't even that hard to get. Now, the price wasn't amazing. I think I got them on Target online for about $130 each, which, like I said, that's not the best price in the world or anything like that, but these are still being printed. These are still being created. I know Costco has been doing a ton of those deals where you can get those for as cheap as like $90. I don't have a Costco membership, so I wasn't able to pick those up, but still, there's a lot of these being created. There's a lot of Phantasmal Flames still being out there. And obviously, it's still a new-ish set, and I don't know. I like to wait a little bit longer before I start considering picking up singles from some of these sets, but it is insane, the ride that the Mega Charizard XEX has been on. Again, going all the way up, what is this, about $200+ $200 in 1 month. Like, it's been about 30 days. Absolutely insane run. Again, it's a beautiful card. I think it deserves it. Obviously, it has a lot of demand. Obviously, it has a lot of collectability. Obviously, it has a lot of investability, but man, I know when people, when it was hitting close to $400, a lot of people scooping it up, obviously bouncing the thing all the way back up. Now, we also have another Charizard to take a look at. Here's Charizard from Celebrations. I know a lot of people, as we get closer and closer to the 30th anniversary of Pokemon, a lot of people are going back and picking up cards and sealed products and stuff from a lot of these other anniversary sets, and I think that makes a lot of sense. And again, same thing here. We saw this Charizard bottom out around Christmas time for around $110, and since then it's on a nice little ride up to $150, so about 50% gains in the past 30 days for this one. Again, this is just a nice classic collection Charizard. Very, very cool card. I get it. Anyone would like to have this in their collection. Anyone can spot that card and say, damn, that is a nice looking card. And again, if we do get tons of 30th anniversary hype, which I know we're going to, I think there's a lot of 20th anniversary, 25th anniversary, whatever stuff that's going to go absolutely crazy. I have a Celebrations UPC in my collection that I'm hoping is going to go nice and up as well. But again, for the time being, this singles card is going very, very nice and up. Now, one last Charizard here on the list. We have the Charizard EX from Flashfire. This thing over the past 3 months, not the same looking graph as the other ones. Obviously a little bit older card compared to the last two. But this one 3 months ago, at the end of October, we're already in the end of January. Absolutely insane. This thing was $211. It has then gone on a nice little run up to $250. Not as insane of a run, but just some very, very nice, consistent upward movement for this one. Let's take a look at what this has done over the past year. And again, that 1 year graph looks even better. A year ago at this time, $155, now up to $252. Again, just a very, very nice looking Charizard. It's got the 3D, kind of full art style that just kind of pops. He's coming off the card even a little bit. Very, very nice card. Charizard EX Hunter from XY Flashfire. The ultra rare climbed this week from $230 up to $250. One of the 5 different Charizard printings from that set that are all at least $60. Again, Charizard, it's just a home run. And again, keep in mind, that should be a big takeaway for everybody just in investing in Pokemon in general. Go for the heavy hitters. Go for the big name Pokemon. Go for the S tier Pokemon. Invest in Charizard. Invest in Pikachu. Invest in Evolutions. Invest in Gen 1 popular Pokemon. Invest in your legendary Pokemon, stuff like that. Like, you don't have to get crazy. You don't have to go insane. You have to invest in the stuff that is going to have stable long-term demand, consistent, reliable long-term demand, and of course that's going to be your heavy hitter Pokemon. Speaking of that, We have another one here. I believe we talked about this last week, but apparently this card just kind of keeps going up. This is going to be the Blastoise from Crystal Guardians. Again, this is like a straight-up big man Blastoise here. This is a chunky boy. Why not Blastoise after Charizard? I'm kind of disappointed that they're picking the same card as last week. I think they probably could have gone in a different direction here, but whatever. The twist this week is that it's the Delta Species Blastoise from Crystal Guardians, released way back in 2006. Again, there's been a lot of older school cards that have been on nice runs lately. A lot of people are starting to get look farther and farther and farther back as modern prices and modern population reports start to go pretty crazy. Some people are looking farther and farther back, and again, some people apparently going all the way back to 2006. 20 years ago. Absolutely insane. But this is a nice looking card. This is one of the ones I can understand. Sometimes people pick up these vintage cards or these, a little bit older cards, and I'm like, I don't really even like that. It doesn't look that cool. Modern stuff looks cool. It's shiny. It's flashy. Some of the stuff's ugly, but this Blastoise cards, I can kind of get behind. It's a little bit different. It kind of catches your eye in a cool way. Again, we can look at the 1 year chart for this. In just kind of raw, this was $60 a year ago. It's now up to 148. So this is more than doubled in the past year. Very, very nice. And apparently, we have the Alakazam Star and Celebi Star, both somewhere in the realm of $1,000. We also have the Delta Species Charizard for $450. That's a cool looking card. Alakazam, that's cool. Celebi Star, that's cool. And then the Swampert EX is apparently $200 as well. So lots of cool cards from that set, actually. We also here have the Vaporeon. Again, sticking in line with the heavy hitter, the S tier Pokemon. We have an Evolution, the Vaporeon from Delta Species. Here we have, coming from the appropriately titled Delta Species, Vaporeon Delta Species is an early attempt at pushing set design, and the result is a set with 16 cards with a market price of $100 or more. That is a banger. That number will soon increment by 1 as Vaporeon climbs from 85 up to $98. So let's look at the 1 year graph on this thing. Again, here we have in raw $61 a year ago, now up to $98. So that's a nice little 50% gain over the course of a year. Maybe not as insane as we've seen a lot of other stuff in the hobby or in the Pokemon collection scene go, but still a very, very nice run there. And again, if you see a set with a ton of other cards over $100 and you see a card running, this one's probably going to be crossing that milestone as well. This Vaporeon is coming from a set with the Kyogre Star. Oh, man, I love that card. That card looks very, very, very sick. And the Metagross Star, banger there. So who knows what's possible for Vaporeon as it continues to climb. Here is another card that I absolutely love from a set that I absolutely love. This is the Giratina V from Lost Origin. Absolute banger of a card. This thing hit lows right around $500 in July, and since then it is now up to $650. While we're on the subject of expensive cards from expensive sets, let's talk about Lost Origins, which released in 2022, again 4 years ago now at this point, three and some change probably, and very swiftly gave us some expensive cards. At the top of that list is Giratina V, which is nearing an all-time high after a strong start to the year. The Dragon is up this week from 600 to 660, reflecting a climb that began since it went as low as 573 a month ago. So you can see here, again, all-time highs for this thing, about $700, and it's sitting at 660 right now. So making that climb to all-time highs, and once you break those all-time highs, the sky is the limit. Who knows where it's going to go from there? But a very, very good-looking card. I love this. Again, I love this set. Love this card. Again, this is something that I would not mind picking up, but you're going to be paying a pretty penny for those expensive cards, especially from those big name Pokemon like your Giratinas. Here we have an Aerodactyl V from Lost Origin. Also very, very cool, good looking card. Looks like it's just kind of down over the past 3 months. Past 1 year, pretty flat. Don't really see anything too crazy there in terms of the graph, but this is a really cool piece of artwork featuring Aerodactyl, and it is off to a hot start in 2026. Let's look at the 1 month. Beginning of the year, it was 136. We're now up to 147. Went as low as 130 a few weeks ago, but since then it's up to 148, so that's kind of cool. For what it's worth, the next several chase cards and set are all significantly less expensive. Rotom V is a flat $25, and so is Giratina V Star. So yeah, I don't know. Kind of keep in mind there. I guess they're saying this is kind of the next card from Lost Origin that could have a big run as Lost Origin kind of continues to grow and appreciate in price as it ages. Here we have the Ancient Mew. We've definitely talked about this one before. I've talked about in recent months about how the upward movement in the Pokemon TCG market hadn't disappeared, but instead moved into cards with more and more scarcity. Well, Ancient Mew is as old as cards come, and while it wasn't for a long time considered particularly scarce, the price over last year of this promo certainly has behaved like it. So yeah, over the past year, pretty insane graph. This thing was $52 a year ago, now up to 89. This is also a very, very cool card. This is a card that when you see it, it's always going to stand out. It's always going to pop. Even somebody who's not, super into Pokemon card collecting or whatever, they're going to see that card and be like, oh, that is different. That is cool. And again, it's a big name Pokemon. It's Mew. You're going to have a lot of Mew collectors, a lot of people who like Mew out there, especially with, the popularity of Bubble Mew and different stuff like that out there. So I'm not really surprised that this card has gone on an absolutely insane run. I believe this was like a promo from one of the Pokemon movies or something like that. So obviously a very, very old card that I'm sure, a lot of people didn't necessarily keep in the best condition or anything like that either. I thought it was the final card. I guess we got 2 more to talk about. Here we have the Ditto. And this is kind of an interesting card. I don't know. Ditto is always kind of a weird Pokemon. I'm sure there's some fans of Ditto out there, but I don't think it's necessarily the first Pokemon I'd be looking to invest to or anything like that. Whether it's a buyout or simply supply hitting a breakpoint, Ditto from the 2010 set Triumphant has officially run out of near mint reverse holo copies on the marketplace. So that one, maybe a little bit of market manipulation, maybe a little bit of, somebody just kind of trying to buy up a bunch of one card, maybe trying to pump it up. Who knows? I don't know. This isn't something I would necessarily read into too much. And then finally, we have the Spiritomb card here, promo card with the pumpkin Pikachu on it. Pretty interesting there. Holiday promo, the Pokemon 2025 printing of Spiritomb 87 doubled in price from $4 up to $8. These kinds of mass-produced promotional cards aren't often worth much money, but this particular dark Pokemon has been on a real run so far this year, despite it being obviously not anywhere near Halloween. Again, this is another one that I would probably stay away from, but it is kind of cool. They went with the holiday theme with some scary, spooky Pokemon and the kind of pumpkin Pikachu, stuff like that. It's a little bit different, but still, I'm going to stick to the S tier, the most beloved Pokemon in the hobby out there. And I think it's going to be the easiest, most consistent way to make some money. But biggest story I think from this week, definitely the fact that the Mega Charizard XEX from Phantasmal Flame is on an absolutely insane run, and it'll be interesting to see what happens here. Is it going to crash back down to the $500 range? Is it going to continue to run to all-time highs? We'll have to wait and see. But that's pretty much it for this video today, guys. Hopefully catch you in the next one. Until then, peace.